Let's go! Razorback Nation, you guys have been rocking with me on this SEC channel. I'm going to do a video just for you. There is a lot to talk about in the world of the SEC. But look, I've got an issue with Barry Odom and this defense right now. I'll even include the offensive side of the football here. Arkansas's got an issue with speed. Boom! I'm looking at you. I hope you've already subscribed. I hope you've already rang the bell. Thank you guys so much for helping grow this channel. This is a big issue, though, for Arkansas, and you're looking at some shots from earlier in the game when Bryce Young was in the game. And the issue here for me for a lot of these touchdowns, yeah, you had the amazing Dwight McGlothern interception on the first drive, but still, I felt as if the touchdowns that the Arkansas defense gave up were just a little too easy. And what I mean by easy is, yeah, it's okay if you get burned by the Alabama Crimson Tide offense. They're a really good offense. But even with the backup quarterback or a starting quarterback, you just can't give up easy plays. And this is another example of that. So what I would have done defensively when Alabama went into the Jalen Milroe offense, I would have forced him to beat me with my arm. And it kind of, his arm. Now, it kind of looks like Arkansas is doing that. So they have Bumper's Pool, who is a QB spy right here. But the issue here is I would have automatically checked into something called a mush rush. Okay? And what that essentially is, you're not trying to penetrate and sack the quarterback. Let him sit back there all day and make him make a throw. Now, I know your secondary stinks, okay? But for the most part, I would much rather Milroe throw it here than run it, okay? So Drew Sanders over-penetrates this play, as does this defensive end. Yes, in theory, it's good that you're getting pressure, but it looks like you still have Milroe bottled up here, right? You got it looks like 15 Blair right here. You got, obviously, Bumper Pool. And what happens here is Bumper gets too flat-footed, and Milroe just runs right by him, okay? Now we need this player to step up and make a play right here, okay? He's not getting there, and look at all this space. Just too easy, okay? So that right there was an issue. I also think McGlothern, I think he he felt himself getting grabbed a little bit, and he tried to sell this holding call right here. So a little bit of a flop job, a Manu Ginobili, doesn't work, okay? I think that's going to get Coach 30'd. So, yeah, this was my big issue with the Arkansas defense yesterday. Yeah, they were gashed for the second straight year by Alabama, but you've got to make them work for it. Here's another example here. It's 1st and 10, and they're doing the same thing. They are widening the splits of the wide receivers here, and they're faking a screen here to get some flow this way, but this is just too much space right here, okay? And right here, the safety, I would prefer the safety to be playing back instead of into the box. But this is a light box, right? You have 5 defenders going up against their 5. You're outnumbered here with the runner, okay? So 50 kind of gets, he over-penetrates and takes himself out of the play. Bumper Pool gets into the line of scrimmage. And because this screen action was faked so well, and they scored on a screen earlier with JoJo Earl, this opens up all this space. This safety is all the way over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We want them to throw, right? We do. Because, once again, it's Milroe. We don't want Jahmyr Gibbs getting the football here. But we also want them to throw because, well, we know that they're trying to run the football in this spot because they're trying to bleed out the clock and, take home this 2-possession lead. So I don't know why you're defending this screen action so heavy where you're not even looking at the football at all. So your safety right here should have eyes back here as well, right? And, this is just too easy right here. Okay, good job by Gibbs reading this. And, man, that is a chasm right here. That's called giving the game away right there. Okay? What I one adjustment that you could potentially make is instead of Hudson Clark just filling this contain lane, he fill right here and essentially two-gap it. If he goes this way, you fill this way. If he, goes central, you obviously are right there to defend it. But, man, that's just not good. That's not good. We knew the Arkansas defense had issues. But I said this in my preview leading up to the game. Their skill guys have got to play better. They're I call them the single-digit guys. Normally, your single-digit offensive players. They could not get open. KJ really did not have a lot of opportunities to throw to guys in space unless Kendall Briles called a play with immaculate play design. Now, we're not going to focus on it just for the sake of time. I thought Kendall's red zone play calling was an issue, and here's another issue as far as like a single digit. It's 4th and 5. Okay, Hazelwood's just got to run into the space and get the first down. Okay, but you dance, and I don't know why. It's 4th and 5. Cut into the space and get this first down, but you dance too much and you get stopped short. But I felt like Kendall's red zone play calling was poor, but I do think some of that is due to him seeing that his guys just aren't getting open. So here's a good example right here of scheming guys open, okay? So this wasn't a big-time play by any playmaker. This was purely the play design that opened this up for Arkansas, okay? So you're faking one of these like tunnel screens to Jackson, okay? So all three of these defenders thinks number 2 is getting the football because last week on film, guess what they watched versus Texas A&M? They saw number 2, Jackson, kill Texas A&M on that long screen pass. They ran a bunch of screen passes last week to Hazelwood as well. So what does Briles decide to do? Okay, we're going to fake this screen and pick on this linebacker over the middle of the field. And look at when KJ is throwing this football. Knox is not even open yet, okay? But he's anticipating this window. And look at where that ball is delivered, even when this protection began to break down some, okay? Actually, protection's good, but there was still a hand in his face. And look at where that ball was placed, okay? While this is a good catch and run by Trey Knox, that was purely the play design. And this is, exactly what I was talking about here about Arkansas. Their skill guys don't make a lot of guys miss. They don't, outside of Rocket Sanders, really. Arkansas's offensive skill guys just are very ordinary. And, it's rare that Arkansas has that Traylon Burks kind of player. And they missed Traylon, obviously. Everybody's going to miss Traylon big time. And this is just another example right here of KJ just making a Superman kind of play. Will Anderson getting a lot of pressure here up the middle. And there's just nothing open. There's just absolutely nobody open right here. And this is just unreal. This just doesn't make sense that KJ was still able to make this play and then Rocket break this tackle right here from Battle, one of the best players in the SEC. Okay? Outside of Rocket Sanders and KJ, obviously, there's just not a lot of guys making stuff happen right now for the Arkansas offense offensively. Boom! I'm looking at you, Razorback Nation. Hope you've liked and subscribed to this channel. Please comment down below. Do you believe the defensive issues are more because of the players, or is it more because of Barry Odom and the play calling for the Razorbacks? Now what I want to do is talk about what you guys have for the rest of the year, okay? Now, the first thing is Mississippi State is coming up, and their only loss was against LSU in a game where they had 4 second-half drops, 3 of which would have resulted in first downs. They also muffed a punt that gave LSU the lead in that game. So, truth be told, Mississippi State did a lot to lose it, and quite frankly, this is a very experienced and talented team whose skill position offensive players have gotten better. So, for me, as someone who's watched a good bit of Mississippi State this year, defensively, their ball skills is amazing. They are really good at forcing turnovers and making plays, and this team is just really, really solid, and you have to go to their building to play them after back-to-back losses. Now, just a few weeks ago, we were talking about how could this potentially be Arkansas's year. You lose a heartbreaker against Texas A&M, a game you probably should have won, especially now seeing that Texas A&M this year, let's be honest, they're frauds. They're not a good team whatsoever. But you did lose that game. Obviously, we're not going to talk too much about that. But you're now a 3-2 football team. The good news is, yes, a lot of what happened versus Alabama just came down to them having better players than you, as many of you probably figured that out. I disagreed with some of the things Saban decided to do coaching-wise that I felt allowed Arkansas to get back into the game. But truth be told, Alabama, that's just a game that is really, really nearly impossible to win. The bad news is there are no certain wins left on the schedule, all the way down to 4-1 Liberty. It's really, really, really tough. And I'm going to give you something that I actually talked about on this channel a few weeks ago about Mississippi State. A big reason why I picked LSU to beat Mississippi State was because Mississippi State was playing LSU on the back-to-back end of road games. And I feel as if Arkansas scheduling a back-to-back road game scenario where you have to go to Mississippi State and then go all the way up to BYU to play that game, that can get brutal. And I've done deep dives on this very thing. Back-to-back road games for SEC teams historically don't bode well for that team. The last team to win both of their road games in a back-to-back scenario was 2019 LSU when they beat Alabama and Ole Miss in back-to-back weeks. So that's going to be tough over these next 2 weeks, and then you get the bye week and you got to go on the road against Auburn, who looked better last week. LSU is looking better, even though their offense still has a lot of question marks. Ole Miss is undefeated, and Missouri has lost 2 games in a row that they feel like they probably should have won. So all these teams the rest of the way, none of which are unbelievably good, but we can at least say all of these teams left on the schedule are getting better. They're better than what they were just a few days ago, or let's just say a few weeks ago. So as far as Arkansas moving forward, you do have that left. Now, something that I do find to be very fascinated is what does Sam Pittman do about just both sides of the football, right? I don't know what you can do defensively. The secondary is really lacking some big-time playmakers. The one thing I would do, though, is whatever you can do, don't allow giveaway touchdowns. Yes, Jahmyr Gibbs deserves a lot of credit for that long touchdown run, but don't just give him a huge walk-away 70-yard alley. The explosive plays have got to get fixed, and maybe they do against Mississippi State because Mississippi State is not really an explosive play offense. They're more of a dink-and-dunk kind of team, and that's always just been Will Rogers' MO. He's really good at throwing the football underneath. So that should be something to keep an eye on for in this next week. And then offensively, just have Kendall continue to do what he's done all year, which is, scheme some guys open. I feel Jackson, number 2, is a really good receiver, and I know I've been critical of Hazelwood and those guys, but those guys are plenty capable of being good SEC receivers moving forward. I would just like to see more wow from the wide receiver group at Arkansas. So we shall see what happens there over these next few weeks. So Arkansas fans, let me know what you guys think about the team for the rest of the year, and we'll talk to you soon, okay? It is Power Hour SEC. Bam! Will Rogers, man, he is a good pocket quarterback. That was some great pass protection and a good throw in stride. 5 is really explosive with the football in his hands, not only as a receiver, but a kickoff returner. And tonight, what are we doing? I think we're firing up the grill for some steaks. Let's go!